Hey everyone, hope you guys are enjoying a Monster Hunter in whichever fashion you're choosing to play it in. And today I wanted to give a little bit of my quick reactions regarding what we got to see or not see as part of the latest Tokyo Game Show digital presentation event that Capcom decided to hold, where pretty much the entirety of all of 2023 us Monster Hunter players have been hoping to see some sort of final materialization of Monster Hunter 6, whatever the next mainline Monster Hunter game will be. As early as December of last year, Ryoso Sugimoto spoke about look forward to Tokyo Game Show. More news will be shown there, and a lot of people were basically hoping for this to finally be the point where we get to see the next mainline Monster Hunter game, whether it was a logo, whether it was a short trailer, a full-on reveal, whatever the case may be. And obviously, for those who watched the digital presentation, that did not happen. That is not to say that they didn't necessarily talk about Monster Hunter. They did, which I kind of want to recap in a little bit. But for those who may be feeling a little bit disappointed or sad, probably don't be, only because of the fact that they're already talking about the 20th year anniversary of Monster Hunter. So they are going to try to make this into an event year type of thing heading into 2024. So of course, more information is going to be revealed. This is something that they actually mentioned specifically and directly in the presentation itself, that more information regarding their 20th anniversary plans will be set. This is something that Ryoso Sugimoto even originally spoke about in multiple developer interviews after December of last year. So this shouldn't be that much of a negative thing that they didn't necessarily show a logo or a monster or a trailer or anything like that. But more information is going to come. We did get to see a brand new, I believe, image that they're calling as part of the 20th anniversary art series, where they're spotlighting hunters that were basically the flagships of the actual like covers of the box art, I guess, if you want to call it that way, as they were fighting specific flagship monsters since the first Monster Hunter all the way down to Sunbreak. So they did a pretty good job at the very least showcasing that for players to kind of be excited about what potentially could be coming down the road in the future. Now, at the same time, yeah, I did speak about in my predictions video multiple ways that they could go about this. Of course, again, a trailer or logo, something would have gotten a lot of people excited. But I also spoke about the fact that they could potentially not show anything. And one of the things that we have seen, like Square Enix does this, Capcom has done this in the past, they showcase nothing in the presentation, but then you end up getting quotes from developer interviews that they do, whether it is Famitsu, whether it is IGN Japan or different outlets, for Gamer, or whatever the situation may be. And you end up getting random quotes like, you know, more things are being planned for the next mainline game, whatever the case may be. So I wouldn't be as pessimistic as I know a lot of people are going to be in the comments, or people who are just going to be jaded hoping that they should have shown something, they needed to show something. I'm probably not going to be that pessimistic. I'm going to still hold out hope. Tokyo Game Show just started about 12 hours ago as the time of this recording. So like, don't be pessimistic. I'm sure there's going to be developer interviews and quotes that are going to be coming out in the next few days that hopefully give us a glimpse of something happening in the future. Whether they decide to showcase anything, I wouldn't put it past them. But at the end of the day, you know, until Tokyo Game Show is officially over, I'm not going to lose hope just yet. But regarding something else that they spoke about here when it comes to Monster Hunter, for Monster Hunter Now, I want to kind of talk about that in a separate video, since there is a couple of more information as well that, again, they put up on the website. They didn't even talk about it in the presentation itself, which was relatively sparse. The entire stream was just sparse with information. They didn't really show anything new or too exciting, which was, you know, kind of like, what is the entire purpose if you're going to have an entire stream and you're not really going to showcase anything new other than Dragon's Dogma, which I guess they spoke about pawns a lot, which it was fine, but players of that game already know that, so, you know, it's not too much of a surprise there. When it comes to Monster Hunter Now, though, specifically, they did talk about the fact that in December there's going to be a major patch, a major change. But the wording, again, the person from Niantic who was talking about on stage, I believe it was the producer, speaking in Japanese, they have a translator talking in English, and they just basically said singularity as in one monster being added in December, which is pretty grimy, if you ask me. Like, that is pretty not good. Of course, I believe the roar that they showcased was Sonogre. Maybe you guys can correct me in the comments. It sounded like Sonogre to me, but I could be wrong. That's also a couple of other things that I saw people mention as well, that it could have been Sonogre. So they also spoke about new weapons coming to the game, but I made a video about that already. In the developer course, they already talked about the fact that they're eventually going to add all the weapons. In the data mines, when the original like soft launch became live, they were showcasing already that there's data in the game for all the weapons. They're just not active as of right now. So presumably they're going to drip feed the weapons. They're going to drip feed monsters, which we expected. But if it's one monster every, 3 to 4 months, that probably is not going to bode well for that game. I'm already seeing people complaining about the fact that it doesn't have a lot of monsters, and the longevity of that game is just not going to be very good if they don't keep adding monsters. So that's going to be something that they're probably going to have to work on a little bit faster than just until December. I don't even know if the game will be alive by December if they just decide to add one monster by then. Another Monster Hunter adjacent set of news is, of course, the Exoprimal DLC, which is something that we've kind of already known about. I believe that's part of Season 3. That's slated for, I believe, around November or December, or maybe 2024. I didn't really quite pay attention to the Exoprimal stuff because I don't play that game. But they did showcase, essentially, it's just going to be like a Rathalos armor outfit type of thing. I wouldn't expect them to actually add the monsters from Monster Hunter as part of the game. That would have, I've always talked about it. Like, if they're going to do something, do that. Give people a reason to actually jump into the game. If you just give them an armor of like Rathalos, well, I believe Sonic Frontiers also did that, where Sonic is decked out in like Monster Hunter Rathalos gear. So, they kind of already done that. So I'm not really sure who that's for, but it is what it is. Exoprimal, I'm sure, has its own audience. And it is free on Game Pass, so at the very least, for those players, they're going to be excited in that regard. But as far as I could tell, that was everything Monster Hunter related that they showcased at this Capcom Online Program Tokyo Game Show presentation. Absolutely. I'm not going to discount it. The fact that it's a little bit disappointing that, yes, they didn't showcase anything when it comes to Monster Hunter 6. But maybe even by the time that I'm recording this, some more information will be coming out. Of course, I will be covering that as well. I do also want to quickly mention that the official Monster Hunter Twitter account here in North America, but the Japanese one did the same thing as well. They mentioned that March 2024 marks the 20th year since the release of the very first Monster Hunter game in Japan. To you, the incredible global audience, thank you. Please enjoy the first piece of our 20th anniversary art series, putting the spotlight on hunters. You should be able to see that overlaid on the screen right now. So they're going to make this into a whole yearly thing next year. And I'm seeing the comments already for those tweets. People are pissed. They're not happy. But at the end of the day, like I said, there were many possibilities. We could have gotten an official trailer. I did see someone, and I'm not going to name names, but there used to be, I'm going to say this. I'm going to be nice about it. There used to be a prominent YouTuber in the Monster Hunter community. And they were being very negative about the entire purpose of like the idea. Now, I guess they're going to claim victory at this point, since Capcom didn't actually show anything. But they were claiming that because Dragon's Dogma 2 is releasing so soon, that they're not going to showcase a new Monster Hunter game. I want to say very clearly that those two games' audiences are completely separate. I think anyone who plays Dragon Dogma knows that it's a full-on RPG. Monster Hunter, they keep calling it an RPG. It's not an RPG, it's an action game. Most people know that already. I think Monster Hunter fans know that more than anyone. It is not traditional RPG mechanics, and certainly is not a fantasy game either in that same regard. So to say that the audience of Dragon's Dogma 2 would somehow like overlap with Monster Hunter, so they don't want to release them at the same time, that's kind of ridiculous. More to the point though, Dragon's Dogma 2 still has no release date. So this entire notion that Dragon's Dogma 2 is like literally launching around the same time of Monster Hunter 6 or World 2, whatever, it's ridiculous because we don't even have the release date for Dragon's Dogma. They actually, in the presentation itself, one of the things that people were hoping for was to see the release date, and they didn't show it. They didn't show anything regarding the release date. They just said 2024. So at the end of the day, this entire notion that one game will overlap with another, and therefore you cannot actually have them launch, not simultaneously, but like within a month of each other or 2 months, that's ridiculous to begin with. Makes no sense whatsoever. But again, some people just need to kind of be opposite of what everyone else is talking about so they could try to be right, and it kind of, you know, sucks when you see the community be that negative about things when there's just no real reason to be. Again, even who I've been spoken about Monster Hunter 6 for probably about a year or so by now, I'm still remaining optimistic that we're going to get something through a developer quote later within the next few days. Hopefully fully translated, of course. But of course, that's just going to come with time. Otherwise, if we don't get anything, we don't get anything. And we'll have to wait until, you know, the Game Awards or whatever. Because the entire notion of like, and we know this based on Capcom's very own financial reports, they are expecting a massive release before April of 2024. And I'll reiterate this to players who may not necessarily know this. The only one that can actually get them the sales that they're talking about is Monster Hunter. Dragon's Dogma is not going to sell 15 million copies. That game is popular to some degree, but it's not going to sell 15 million copies within the first 3 months of launch. Only like Street Fighter and Monster Hunter do that for them. Not even Resident Evil does that much anymore. So I believe Resident Evil 4 Remake did like 8 or 9 or 7 million or something like that. So yeah, it doesn't even hit that much. And again, Resident Evil 4 Remake is pretty damn good, but I don't think it hit those numbers. So only Monster Hunter and Street Fighter hit those numbers for Capcom at this point. And in order for them to be expecting those kind of massive sales, they need to have something massive. And again, Street Fighter just launched, so they're not talking about that. Clearly it has to be Monster Hunter. And one of the things that I had a conversation with someone on recently in one of the forums was the fact that if they are to reveal Monster Hunter 6 at the Game Awards, and then we are expecting it to launch in April, that goes completely against what Capcom does. They love to talk about games half a year to a year away before it actually officially launches. So I wouldn't necessarily expect them to reveal a game in December and drop it 3 months later. They like to build up. They like people talking about it. They like to build notoriety. They like to build an audience there where there might potentially not be one, and get everyone excited with trailers. Remember, heading into the launch of Rise, we got trailer after trailer after trailer after trailer. Like every single one of the maps was revealing new monsters. And that went out for about 10 separate months. They revealed Sunbreak 10 months before it officially launched. I think it was like a year and 3 months after the launch of Rise or something like that. Like they were like teasing the hell out of things for a long time. World was no different. Iceborne was no different. So the fact that people would imagine that they're going to reveal it at the Game Awards and then drop it in March, that's just unrealistic. So to me, this was probably the right window, but you know, it didn't happen. So we'll just have to wait and see what their plans are, maybe for this potential 20th anniversary celebration thing. But that's about all the information that I have for you guys today. I know it went a little bit long and speculative, but I kind of wanted to talk it out since, you know, people always question why these things don't necessarily happen, and I'm sure these publishers have their own reasons, but it wouldn't necessarily be because they're trying to like not overlap with Dragon's Dogma, which is a fantasy RPG that's really not even remotely close to what Monster Hunter is doing. If you're brand new to my channel though, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.